What's up, football fans? Welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, make sure to hit that subscribe button and ring the bell so you never miss out on the latest NFL news, trade updates, and everything football. Today, we've got some huge breaking news that has just sent shockwaves through the NFL world. Jared Goff, the Detroit Lions quarterback, has reportedly accepted an offer to join the Dallas Cowboys. Yes, you heard that right. Jared Goff, the former 1 overall pick, leaving Detroit for the Cowboys in what could be one of the most surprising moves of the offseason. Let's dive into all the details and what this means for both teams. Before we get started, let me know in the comments, are you shocked by this move? Do you think Goff can elevate the Cowboys, or is this just a massive gamble? Drop your thoughts below, and let's get into it. The news that Jared Goff has accepted an offer to join the Dallas Cowboys is undeniably a shock to many. While Goff has shown steady improvement over the past seasons with the Detroit Lions, this move signals a significant shift, both for the quarterback and for the Cowboys, whose playoff aspirations have been constantly overshadowed by quarterback inconsistency. The move is even more dramatic considering the timing, as it comes during an offseason where the Cowboys were widely expected to make some bold moves to compete for a Super Bowl. For Goff, this decision might seem like a leap of faith, but the lure of playing for a top-tier franchise with a more complete roster than what he left behind in Detroit is certainly tempting. On the other hand, for the Cowboys, acquiring a former 1 overall pick who's played in a Super Bowl could offer them a new dynamic at quarterback, someone who has proven he can win big games, provided he has the right pieces around him. But with Dak Prescott still under contract and having led the team through some playoff battles, the Cowboys now find themselves in an intriguing situation of quarterback uncertainty. What happens next in Dallas will undoubtedly be one of the most fascinating storylines of the 2025 NFL season. Jared Goff's trajectory in the NFL has been anything but straightforward. After being drafted first overall by the Los Angeles Rams in 2016, Goff was expected to lead a franchise that was making the transition to a new city and a new era. His early years were marked by growing pains, but the arrival of head coach Sean McVay unlocked his potential, and under McVay's guidance, Goff led the Rams to a Super Bowl appearance in 2018. However, despite that success, Goff's tenure in LA became rocky, with the quarterback facing criticism for his performance in big moments, particularly in the Super Bowl loss to the New England Patriots. The Rams, looking to get an upgrade at quarterback, traded Goff to the Detroit Lions in 2021 in a deal that sent Matthew Stafford to Los Angeles. For the Lions, this was a fresh start. For Goff, it was another opportunity to prove himself, this time with a rebuilding team. Over the course of the last few seasons, Goff had ups and downs, but the Lions showed promise, particularly in the latter half of the 2024 season, where Goff played some of his best football in years, throwing for over 4,000 yards and earning respect for his leadership on the field. But now, after all that, Goff has decided to leave Detroit for a different challenge in Dallas, which is sure to raise eyebrows. The Cowboys have been known for having a talented roster, especially on offense, with weapons like wide receiver CeeDee Lamb, running back Tony Pollard, and a very capable offensive line. Their defense, led by the star pass rusher Micah Parsons, has also been among the league's best, which means that the Cowboys are just a few pieces away from truly contending for a championship. The quarterback position, however, has been a major point of contention. Dak Prescott, while a talented player and a 2-time Pro Bowler, has struggled in crucial moments, especially during the playoffs, leading to some serious doubts about whether he is the right leader to bring the Cowboys back to the promised land. With the addition of Goff, the Cowboys now have a veteran signal caller who has experience leading a high-powered offense. While Goff isn't a perfect quarterback, he has shown time and again that he's capable of guiding a team to the playoffs when surrounded by the right pieces. With the Cowboys' current roster, Goff might just be the piece that can elevate them to Super Bowl contention. For the Lions, this move is undoubtedly a setback, but it's not necessarily a disaster. While Jared Goff showed a lot of promise in Detroit, his departure means that the Lions will now need to reassess their quarterback situation. The franchise was still in the midst of a rebuild, and while Goff's presence provided some stability, his departure leaves a glaring hole at the most important position in football. The Lions could look to the draft to find their next quarterback of the future, though with the draft class being relatively uncertain, that path could be risky. Detroit has plenty of other holes to fill, but finding a signal caller capable of leading the team into a new era will be their top priority. It's possible they will make a run at a veteran quarterback or take a chance on a young prospect, but either way, this move means that the Lions' rebuilding efforts will take a step back, even though the team has made strides over the past few seasons. Head coach Dan Campbell has done an impressive job with the team's culture, but this is a significant challenge. Detroit will need to find a way to ensure that Goff's departure doesn't derail their progress. The question now for the Cowboys is whether or not Jared Goff can unseat Dak Prescott as the starting quarterback, and if so, what that would mean for Prescott's future in Dallas. Prescott has long been the face of the Cowboys, but his inability to consistently deliver in the playoffs has left some questioning whether he's the guy who can lead them to the Super Bowl. Goff, on the other hand, has proven he can win big games, as evidenced by his Super Bowl appearance with the Rams, even though the game didn't end in his favor. However, Goff's time in Detroit didn't exactly position him as a surefire franchise QB. His time with the Lions, despite showing flashes of brilliance, revealed some of his limitations. He's had games where he looked like the player the Rams traded away, but he's also had games where he looked a lot like the player who struggled during that Super Bowl. The Cowboys now find themselves with two quarterbacks who each bring a different skill set to the table, and it'll be interesting to see how the team navigates this potential quarterback controversy. Will Prescott respond to the competition and elevate his game, or will Goff's presence push him to the bench? It's certainly a storyline that will develop throughout the offseason and into training camp. Both Goff's arrival in Dallas and the potential shift at quarterback could have significant ripple effects throughout the league. The Cowboys now find themselves with a quarterback room that is both deep and uncertain, and the rest of the NFC will be watching closely to see how this unfolds. The addition of Goff makes the Cowboys' offense even more potent, but it also raises questions about the team's long-term direction. Will they stick with Prescott, or will they go all in on Goff? The Lions, meanwhile, will be forced to shift gears and figure out who their new quarterback is. It could be a young prospect from the draft, or perhaps a veteran who can provide some stability while the team continues its rebuild. Either way, Detroit has a lot of work ahead of them, and Goff's departure will certainly make things more complicated for them in the short term. As for Goff himself, this could be the opportunity he's been looking for. In Dallas, he has a chance to prove he can still be a top-tier quarterback in this league, with the backing of a talented team that can make a deep playoff run. This could be the moment that defines his career, and if he can deliver in Dallas, it would be a redemption story like no other. But, as always, it'll all come down to how Goff handles the pressure and how the Cowboys decide to navigate the quarterback situation. One thing is for sure, the NFL just got a lot more interesting.